The first is P, physical stressors. Anybody here, athlete, had injuries from back in the day? Car accidents? Anyone? Falls, slips, sit at a desk? Ice skating, driving. So all these, sometimes they're very obvious and they're very major and they're very catastrophic. These are physical stresses. It totally can upset the system. Kinda can read that. That looks like Egyptian.
Egyptian?
Yeah. So physical stresses. This C stands for, anybody got a guess? Chemical stresses. What are some examples of chemical stressors?
Cortisol.
Sure. What else?
Smells.
Sure. Perfumes, that's it. So all kinds of aldehydes and toxic chemicals in the air. What are some more obvious ones? Some more socially acceptable ones?
Smoke.
Yeah, smoke, less socially acceptable nowadays. Alcohol. I was listening to this great interview on Terry Gross's show Fresh Air, and she did a history of alcoholism in America. And she looked at some of the major players historically who were just completely addicted, destructively addicts and alcoholics. I mean, John Adams. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. So, alcohol, what else?
Prescription drugs, maybe?
Prescription drugs, huge. That's a big one. Did you know, by the way, so if this is in fact true, isn't it sad that the average senior citizen over 65 is on an average of 15 medications to help restore, regulate, and try to keep them alive because of the various stresses that they didn't resolve? It's crazy, right? Yeah, tons of chemical stressors in terms of pharmaceutical medications. Obviously, Western medicine has its place. Western medicine has its place. But if I'm in a room with a bunch of doctors and surgeons and I ask the following question, how many of you, if you had a choice, would choose drugs and surgery or being healthy naturally? What's your preference? Most people will choose the latter, not the former. So chemical stressors, and the thing is, you know, these things add up. So toxic food, not watching your diet, then you get exposed in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County alone to about 1,000 toxic chemicals per day just in the air. Then the water we drink, the food we eat, you know, then we maybe on a couple prescription medications, you know, we got exposed to mercury when we were kids. So what happens is now all of a sudden the demands are increasing. So the river of physical stress is increasing, this river of chemical stress is increasing, and your body's like, whoa, okay, I'm kind of keeping up because I'm self-regulating, I'm robust, I'm self-healing, right? That's what you told me, that's what I am. Okay, cool. But then usually the stability of the system begins to break when stress gets up too high. Now, what do you think the E stands for? Emotional stress. It is my perspective and my opinion, and I think there's tons of research to support this, that this is the big mama. Mm-hmm. That this is the biggest thing that human beings experience that shunts the flow and creates so much tension. And a lot of it has happened before you were even, say, age 4, age 7. But then through life, isn't it? There's just a lot of stuff we go through. A lot of stuff. Pivotal moments. Maybe one interaction that you had with a family member when you were a kid, completely in that moment of emotional overwhelm, formed how you thought about yourself and gave you a core belief about who you were supposed to be and a decision about how you would live your life that wasn't even true. I could share many of my own personal stories, and perhaps I will if it helps you understand and grasp. But this is huge. So these three rivers come together, this confluence of the rivers of stress, and for most people, unless they have really good skills, amazing psychological health, really good attachment from early childhood, and really robust physical health, most people will eventually, something's going to break in the system. Does this make sense? So stress overloads the system. The main system in our body that affects is, as Ruben said, the central nervous system. That has these fruits, if you will, of the 3 Fs, fight, flight, or freeze, and those fruits have different effects on the body, which we'll get into in a moment. But these are the 3 dimensions of stress. We're going to pay special attention to all of these, but particularly the emotional piece, because that's really where I find I can get the most leverage with people in doing really powerful work. And that does not mean psychotherapy. That does not mean psychoanalysis. Those are very different things. There's a way to unhook and move emotional energy through the body in a really proactive way, which may or may not include those things, but doesn't necessitate them. So it's good news. It's like, I ain't getting a therapy. I didn't come here to get in a therapy. So this is yeah, it's a shrimp, it's a jellyfish, it's the Rorschach test. It's a Christmas tree. It's a very strange Christmas tree. It's an underwater Christmas tree. This is Nemo's Christmas tree. So what I did is I did my best to draw a brain, a spinal cord, and to indicate to you that nerves come out of the spinal cord going to different organs. Now I want to show this because this is just going to illustrate a really simple concept. This is your central nervous system. And when energy, I use the word energy and information synonymously. If you don't like the word energy, I don't mean that actually in sort of a new age, woo-woo, really obtuse sense. I don't mean that at all. Energy is actually it's energy in motion. It's the flow of information that's moving through your whole body, in some cases faster than the speed of light. Usually in the form of waves or electrical impulses. And this information is what gets your lungs. Those are lungs. That's not a... Yeah, right. Some strange fruit. Lungs to breathe, heart to beat. That is anyone?
Cucumber.
Liver. Close. Did you say gallbladder? It does kind of look like a gallbladder. Little liver gallbladder action. Here is a spleen. Obviously.
Or a grape.
Or a grape. Or any organ.
An onion.
Or an onion. Stomach, kidneys, large intestine. So obviously you have over 15 miles of nerve pathways in your body. We could string out your nerve pathways and it would go 15 miles straight. It's really, really amazing. We could string out your whole circulatory system and it could wrap around the globe. So you're really, really cool and really, really complex and so amazingly, intelligently organized. It's phenomenal. There is such an organizing intelligence to this universe. I don't know why I'm going to go off on this tangent, but I just want to say this. There is zero evidence whatsoever to suggest that we live in a completely meaningless random universe. There's no science to support that. There's conjecture and there's hypothesis, but there's no science to support that. We have wonderful evidence to suggest that we live in a highly organized, extremely intelligent, although very difficult to understand and sometimes very strange universe, but it is intelligent. There is an intelligence that organizes matter. And so it's this intelligence, it's this energy, it's this substance, this essence, which I'm most interested in. And so the rekindling of that spark to create that fire of movement of life, of zeal, that's what innervates and then animates life. And so when this is working well, you're working well. So let's say we go back to the 3 dimensions of stress and someone has a car accident. They have an injury to their low back. So they could experience low back pain down their leg, local low back pain. This signal, although they may not know it, to their large intestine becomes compromised. They don't understand why 6 months after their accident and they've been taking ibuprofen for their pain, they've now got the beginnings of irritable bowel syndrome or ulcerative colitis, or they're just having more loose stools, or they get dark circles under their eyes, or they're tired more often at the time. Someone could be going along really well and all of a sudden their lover leaves them. They go through a terrible breakup. Their body overloads with stress. They may feel physical tension in their neck, start getting headaches, jaw pain, but all of a sudden now the flow to their heart is decreased. We wouldn't necessarily know that. You can't see that on a lab, but all of a sudden their physical body is not working optimal. Then perhaps they don't understand it, but they have this constant sense of pressure and worry and anxiety in their chest because that emotion's not flowing, that emotion is stuck. Then they're curious about why they keep getting into relationships but then backing out, or keep attracting in the same person again and again, expecting a different result. Yes, sir?
No, I was just.
Yeah. Can I get an amen? Yes, we can in the back.